Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Honor to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened one. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Hello, dear Dhamma friends. Welcome to our Sunday weekly Dhamma Talk Series. Today is week number 43. So every Sunday, 7 a.m. Pacific time, we have this Dhamma Talk series through Dhamma USA, and we are so delighted to have today Ayya Sudinna. Let me take her to the studio first, and we can discuss more. Hello, Ayya Sudinna. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Bhante.
Theravada Saranai. Okay,
Good
thank
morning.
you so much for joining us. And so your temple is in Carolina, right?
Carolina, yes.
Yeah. So you
South
are like,
Carolina. There is a North Carolina also.
right. What is the difference?
About 2 or 1.5 hours different.
Is it the same time zone?
Again, say it, Bhante, I didn't catch it.
Is it the same time zone?
Yes, it's the same time zone. There
Right.
is Ayyā Sudinna there
Okay.
in Charlotte. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I know.
Hmm.
So you have a beautiful vihara.
Thank
I
you.
can see
It's
that.
a very small vihara anyway.
Right. So the Buddha statue, is it from Sri Lanka?
Yes, Bhante. The
Right.
first Bhante who was here, called Bhante Dhammaloka from New York, he is the one who got it. But it
Right.
was made in Sri Lanka.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So you also have some paintings? Are they also?
They were also done by that monk.
Oh,
Yes.
very nice. Would you like to explain a little bit about this background of this temple? This is called Carolina Buddhist Vihara, right?
Yes. They have not given a spiritual name as such. They have, I think, used just the name of the state, Carolina Buddhist Vihara. And this has been, a house of one of our supporters, the first house that they had when they came to US. They were also a Sri Lankan couple. And now the master, that is Mr. Vijay Vikrama, has passed away. And Mrs. Vijay Vikrama is here. And she, when they were both together here, they made this into a temple and installed Bhante Dhammaloka here. Because when they were earlier, they didn't have a temple here. They have to go to Atlanta for spiritual activities, and it was rather difficult because it takes about 3 hours almost to go there. So once they had this, many monastics have come here, and at first it was the male monastics who were here, but later it so happened that bhikkhunis or
Police have taken over.
yes, not one, many bhikkhunis came here and stayed here, and I am the latest one to stay here now.
Quite a history.
And I have been here now about how long? 10 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
how long is the temple?
Maybe about 20 years.
Hmm, yes,
Yeah.
okay, very nice. And Ayya Sudinna,
Yes.
Sri Lankan by birth, you were ordained as Samanera in 1999 by
Right.
Bhante Gunaratana
Yes,
of
Vante.
the Bhavana Society.
Yeah.
And you received the higher ordination Upasampada in 2002 in
Yes.
Sri Lanka.
In Sri Lanka.
So in lay life, you served as a teacher in
Yes.
government schools and as a lecturer in English at the Government Teachers Training College in Maharagama, and later under the Higher Education Ministry in Sri Lanka. That is so wonderful. And you also have an honors degree in English, an MA in Buddhist philosophy, and you also have written some storybooks, children's storybooks, delightful tales, precious tales 1 and precious tales 2. Oh, that means you have so much to offer for the kids. That's so wonderful. Do you have the books with you?
Yes, I have a few books.
Are they available online?
I think so. Now the distribution has been taken over by another mm, uh, minting, actually a bookshop
Okay, okay,
in Magdala.
right. So, so happy to have Bhikkhuni Sudinna, Ayya Sudinna.
I
Uh,
translated Banteji's book on metta
oh,
into
wonderful.
Sinhala.
Very nice. I think it is so important, like Banteji's books, Banteji, Bante Gunaratana is another very important Buddhist monk from Sri Lanka, and his service for the Buddha Sasana here is tremendously helpful for the society, people here. And he is still alive, and we are so lucky to have so wonderful Bantes like that. And especially his some of his books like Mindfulness in Plain English. I heard Metta also in plain English, right? Loving kindness in plain English.
I think that must be the one that I translated. I can't remember the exact
Right, right.
title.
Maybe that one. Yeah. So, yeah, so these are very, very helpful things. And I also invite our wonderful friends to learn more about Ayya Sudinna. And Ayya Sudinna, you are going to talk about Parinibbana Sutta. Parinibbanahetu Sutta. Actually, not Parinibbana, Mahaparinibbana Sutta. This is a different sutta.
This is a very short one.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I think I should give you more priority today. So, um, over to you, and I really appreciate you for joining us. I remember, like, we missed like each other in we could not meet in empty cloud, and when you were there, I was here. When I was there, you were there. So we somehow couldn't meet there, but we we have, I think, met through over the
Yes.
monthly over the
That has
uh,
been one of our very good experiences.
yes, yes. Okay, so without further ado, I would kindly invite our wonderful Bhikkhuni uh, Ayya Sudinna to
Thank you.
continue this Dhamma talk on Parinibbāṇahetu Sutta. So, Dhamma friends, let us keep our palms together close to our heart, and we will welcome our wonderful Bhikkhuni Ayya Sudinna. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Friends, I like to pay my respects to Bhante Sumita and thank him for inviting me to give a Dhamma talk today. Anjali Bhante, Sadhu. I have chosen a sutta from the Anuguttara Nikaya, Numerical Discourses of the Buddha. The book of force called the Parinibbāṇahetu Sutta for discussion today. Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi gives the title Nibbana to this sutta. In this sutta, Venerable Ananda approached Venerable Sariputta and asked him, "Why is it, friend Sariputta, that some beings do not attain Nibbana in this very life? And some beings attain Nibbana in this very life?" Venerable Sariputta answered, "Some beings, friend Ananda, do not understand as it really is. These perceptions lead to deterioration. These perceptions lead to stabilization. These perceptions lead to distinction. And these perceptions lead to penetration. This is why some beings do not attain liberation in this very life. The beings that attain Nibbana in this very life are those who understand these four perceptions correctly." Now, friends, I hope you understand that when you think of attaining liberation, it means one of the four attainments. Even attaining Sotapanna means it's liberation. Though this sutta is very concise and briefly stated, it is really profound. It shows how perceptions can be used to gain higher knowledges and even liberation from suffering. Usually we think that perception or sanya in Pali shows us color, shape, smell, etc. of an object. And sanya or perception is one of the 5 aggregates or khandhas. This analysis of a being into khandhas or aggregates by the Buddha is made through his own experience of form, feelings, perceptions, volition, and consciousness, which are called the 5 aggregates. The sutta tells us that perception together with attention, now remember perception and attention, distinguishes and focuses on or chooses a certain object or a situation from among many others and keeps it in the mind. This happening is common to all the senses, whether it's sanya in connection with other things, not only seeing but also all the senses, hearing, touching, etc., so that we are able to see something apart from the rest, or hear, smell, touch, or taste anything. That's how we choose something from among many. Although we think our perception is right and real, our actual experience is flawed by our wrong intentions, influenced by sensual desire, such as seeing something unwholesome as something worthy of attention, leading us into unskillful actions by body, speech, and mind, and creating bad karma. This is the deterioration Venerable Sariputta talks about. Lots of people get caught here. Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi explains, when perception and attention are accompanied by sensuality in one who attains the first jhana, wisdom pertains to deterioration. So you can see, even after attaining the first jhana, one could lose all that due to sensual desire. That is, sensual desire, ill will. So you see, when you think of all these defilements that we have, no wisdom can arise in such a mind. Instead, the hindrances, there are hindrances such as these. They are called nivarana, closing the door to nirvana or nibbana. These are sensuous desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry and doubt, that were suspended with the jhana. Now if someone had attained the first jhana, he would have suspended but not abandoned or let go of everything, but just for the time being stopped it. All that will come back. They would rise up, and the mind would lose the one-pointedness and begin to dream about sensuality. We can deal with sensuous thoughts by meditating on our own body. If any lustful thoughts arise, think of the impurities in one's own body. If the sensuality is for an object, say like a car or a house or something like that, one could consider the drawbacks of trying to possess it and holding it and becoming enslaved by greed for it. To use perceptions for our spiritual gain, first we could honestly look at all our possessions, both human and material. When you say human, it can be your children, spouse, and so on, right? Material means, what we normally have as possessions. Think that we have to leave them one day and be prepared for it. No, usually people are not prepared for that. This is letting go, and the more you understand reality, the more you will be able to renounce and feel peaceful, both internally and externally. This will help in our meditation too. The Buddha calls perceptions a mirage and encourages us to understand concepts correctly. This is possible if we question and investigate those concepts when they arise in our mind. In the Dveda Vitakka Sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha says how sensual desire arose in him when he was still a bodhisattva and how he considered it. He thought that it would lead to his own affliction and to others' affliction. It would obstruct wisdom, causing difficulties and lead away from Nibbana. So, he managed to settle and quieten it. After that, whenever such sensual desire arose, he was able to abandon it, remove it, and do away with it. As Buddha is our guide and teacher, whenever we have such problems, we could think of how he tackled them and overcame them. The methods he used are so practical and suitable even today, so that we could see their result immediately. Though we do not understand this actually, often we only see the surface experience of things, so that we do not realize the insubstantial, nature, impermanent nature of the world. Quite often, we tend to solidify concepts. We think, I am a man, I am a woman, a doctor, etc., etc. These concepts create dukkha. They are only creations of the mind. There is a sense of solidity in our thoughts of I, me, mine, and myself. Most of our relations with others are built around this perception. We create our own judgments, comparisons, get into conflicts, become angry, irritable, etc. Due to this sense of solidity, we think what we think is correct and it is so. That is the solidity. The Buddha says we cannot control our body. When it falls ill, it falls ill. When it's time to die, it will, pass away. So that is it. We cannot control the body, but we can change our perceptions and also discover a new way of looking at this life, people, and also ourselves. Our perceptions about the past, future, or even the present are not real. For example, we think, was I in the past? What was I in the past? How was I in the past? Shall I be in the future? What shall I be in the future? How will I be in the future? Am I? Am I, is there an am I? Like, you think, am I not? Is there nobody here? What am I? Where will I go? So these are some of the things that we think. I heard some monastics talk about perceptions while they were traveling or on Tudong. They had to encounter different situations like inclement weather, such as rain, cold, etc., which tested their composure. They resorted to the Vinaya and managed to remain equanimous in spite of the changes in the elements. So, you see, if you are wise enough to find a solution, you could find solutions in the Dhamma itself. How to face this particular perception? We have to understand that the world is what it is, and we cannot change it as we like. But we can change our perceptions, and life would become more comfortable and easy. When there is pain, now you know what pain is, we all have had it, resulting in suffering, we could contemplate the suffering instead of becoming miserable. Pain and suffering are part of living. And if we look closely at it, we'll see that it arises, stays a little, and then ends. If the suffering is due to another person, we can let go of it by not reacting, not personalizing it, but see it as cause and effect. That is, a person is behaving in this manner due to his or her own anger and conditioning, etc. If we develop compassion and loving kindness, we could overcome our negativity, irritation, and mental pain. In this way, we change our attitude towards others, and eventually they too would change. They can't be forever our enemies when we are friendly. It's something that needs practice from the heart, not from the mind so much. If we change the way we see ourselves, we could develop compassion for ourselves, and then it will be possible to extend it to others. Another perception that leads one to decline is ill will. That is, one thinks of one's enemy or someone unfriendly person whose image comes up in the mind, and you think she or he deserves to suffer. If it is this kind of wrong perception that leads to war, and one nation tries to own another country, killing thousands of beings, destroying property, and fragmenting society. Thoughts of harmfulness and cruelty fall into the same category as ill will. Driven by greed and fed by ignorance, one may cause harm and be cruel to others without realizing it'll bring suffering upon themselves. We reap as we sow. Now, let us consider the perceptions that lead to stabilization. Now, so far we thought of the ones that lead to deterioration. Now, we think of what will cause stabilization. If one is able to abandon the unwholesome thoughts of sensuality, ill will, and harmfulness, it would be possible to calm the mind and lead to concentration. Then mindfulness is strong and right effort helps to calm the body so that both body and mind are united in one practice, that is, concentration based on the breath. In the Maha Sutta, the Buddha uses the second jhana state to explain this stability in concentration that has arisen due to the self confidence and one pointedness of mind through the breath. When this concentration on the breath is so deep, it will nourish the entire body. As soon as the meditator breathes in, when one enters the second jhana, applied thought and sustained thought are given up. The Buddha says that the pleasure and rapture that drenches, fills, and pervades the whole body is like a lake that is fed with water from below, and no water enters it from outside. Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi explains, when mindfulness is stabilized in accordance with its nature, when mindfulness is stabilized in accordance with its nature, wisdom leads to stabilization. This means that perception needs to be balanced with mindfulness. Then wisdom arises. While perception is a common factor that is happening in us all the time, mindfulness is not so. For it is with us sometimes and is not there at other times. You would have seen it yourself if you are practicing mindfulness. It has to be cultivated with effort. And when we look at the Noble Eightfold Path, we see how it comes immediately after right effort. Mindfulness, right effort. From this point onwards, the mind will move towards the state called distinction. Now I come to the third one that was talked about, right? The distinction concerning perception. That is rising to higher levels of concentration when this concentration on the breath is so deep, it will nourish the entire body. As soon as the meditator breathes in, then the mind perceives that this rapture and pleasure is rather gross. That's from the first jhana. This is now rather gross. And focusing even more mindfully with great clarity and awareness, finds the breath becoming even more refined. Sometimes one cannot locate the breath. and it is as if one is not even breathing anymore. This stage is like entering the third jhana, which has mindfulness and equanimity. Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi explains, when perception and attention are unaccompanied, remember, unaccompanied by thought, wisdom pertains to distinction. So, perception and attention are no longer having thoughts. When the mind has reached distinction in this way, one becomes aware of impermanence in that state. Then one directs the mind to the destruction of the taints, the understanding of the Four Noble Truths, that is, suffering, dukkha, the cause of suffering, craving, the cessation of suffering, nirodha, and the way leading to the cessation of suffering, magga, is actually seen. This is what is meant by perception leading to penetration. Now we come to the fourth one, penetration. At this stage, perception and attention are accompanied by disenchantment of all worldly things, and dispassion and wisdom leads the mind to penetration. Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi says, when perception and attention are accompanied by disenchantment and dispassion, wisdom pertains to penetration. Then the mind is liberated from the taint of sensual desire, kamasava, taint of being, bhavasava, and taint of ignorance, avijjasava. The knowledge that the mind is liberated comes to the practitioner. When I read this sutta, I felt that the four stages, namely decline, stabilization, distinction, and penetration, described by Venerable Sariputta, are somewhat similar to the four jhana states. In the Maha Assapura Sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha explains how this is done. First, we should purify our bodily, verbal, and mental conduct. Then turn to restraining the senses. For example, if we see a form, guard the eye by not grasping the signs and features, sounds, smells, etc. Two should be dealt with in the same way. Reflecting that one is taking food for ending hunger and not for amusement or beautification, eat wisely. The next step is to be mindful and aware of all your movements. When one has reached this stage, one turns to the removal of the hindrances, abandoning covetousness, be freed of greed, letting go of ill will, have compassion for the welfare of all beings, abandoning sloth and torpor, restlessness and doubt. Now, one sits in meditation and enters the first jhana, which has applied thought, sustained thought, rapture, and pleasure born of seclusion. Next, one enters the second jhana, which has self-confidence and singleness of mind without applied thought and sustained thought. Then one enters the third jhana, which has equanimity and mindfulness. Finally, one enters the fourth jhana, which has only equanimity. When we expand the brief comments given by Venerable Sariputta, we see how we could use those ideas in our own lives to attain liberation from suffering. Thank you. Let us offer Anumodana to the Devas. I think I will finish off by giving the Devas also the Anumodana, right? You can join with me. Ettavatacha amhehi sampadang punya. Is it okay, Bante, to give the Anumodana?
Yes, we can maybe if we have some questions, we can
Ah,
also
yes.
answer.
Then it will be after the questions, right?
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, um,
Thank you,
Ayya
Bante, for
Sudinna,
your
for
compassion.
this wonderful Dhamma sermon on Parinibbanahetu Sutta. And dear Dhamma friends, if you have any questions, it is time for you to post your questions. And also, if you want to learn more about Ayya Sudinna, we have shared the link with you so that you can have a look. And this is a direct website link about Carolina Buddhist Vihara. Right. So Mahaparinibbana Sutta is a really longer one, right? And this one is a shorter one, Parinibbanahetu Sutta. So do you have any reason why you selected this sutta?
I don't know. I suddenly came across this sutta and I thought it's a lovely sutta.
Hmm.
And when you asked me to give a talk, I thought this is a good sutta to, you know,
Yeah.
talk about. I don't
Hmm.
know whether I have succeeded in doing that, but
Yeah.
I do hope, that
Right.
I tried my best.
Right. Right. So now I think everyone thinks like we want to attain nibbana. That is our final goal, final liberation. But when we talk about this attaining nibbana, we also can ask some people like, "Are you really ready for that?"
Yes, but
uh,
at the same time, Bante, there are
hmm,
many ways of doing it. Not only the way of the say we think of the Satipatthana Sutta and we think that is the only way. No, though see through perception also you could do it.
hmm. So, Bhikkhuni, now I remember like when somebody passes away in Sri Lanka, they have a very popular saying like Nivan Sapa Labeva. May
Yeah.
he attain Nibbana or may she attain Nibbana. So it has become so popular now. So attaining Nibbana is happening like it happening only after death or is it applied to only dead people? I think it is better you say a few words about that.
Lots of people think that you cannot attain Nibbana in this life itself. Now, from this sutta itself, we can see that if we make the attempt, even perception can be turned into liberation. That is through our own effort, of course. If we just let our perceptions just, take any form that we let it do, like sensual desire, ill will, and all the rest of it, then of course Nibbana is very far away. But if we try to see for ourselves what our perceptions are, at this moment, see, greed has entered my mind. I don't want to share what I have with other people. Or there is hatred. Like that, one has to be mindful enough, at least to have a little bit of mindfulness so that you can see for yourself, because no other person can tell you, no other person can give you the idea this is what you have and you will not believe it. But if you can see for yourself, oh yes, there you are. I have greed in me, or I have hatred in me, or I have lust in me. I can see it. Then there is a way of, seeing it, trying to get rid of it. And if it, the way how to do it, you yourself will find out. And that, I think, is the is what is meant by this sutta, where Venerable Sariputta says that people don't see for themselves the that they are actually deteriorating, that is, going downhill, instead of going uphill. So mm, if we are to make the most of our human life, I think what we should do is to look at ourselves rather than look at others. Find out what our faults are so that we can mm, get rid of them.
Yeah. So, like, people think it's like a distinct achievement. It is almost impossible to achieve. It's way far beyond our comprehension and achievement. So they always try to procrastinate Nibbana. Just like anything else, now people like to procrastinate. So too is the Nibbana. So, yes, we need to start with some step, some, okay, I want to do it, and then we need to keep working on it. Only then we will be able to do it. Otherwise, we will be always in the samsara.
Yes, and
And
when we reach our death,
yeah,
the moment of death, then only we will realize, oh, why didn't I do all these things?
mm,
And it will be too late.
yeah. So repenting over spilt milk. Right. Okay, we have a question here from someone. If someone achieved samadhi state or first jhana state and attached to it and cannot come out of it, what would he can do to get rid of that attachment?
Now, yes, that can very often happen to people, where you get attached to it, because in the first jhana you get uh, vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggata. These are the five factors that you find in the first jhana. So, vitakka, vichara. Now, those are about thoughts, right? Then you get vitakka, vichara, piti, and then there is sukha also, comfort in that jhana. Then piti, sukha, ekaggata, and the ekaggata is of course one pointedness that is not very strong. So at the first jhana level, usually it is, if people are not very sure of themselves, then they don't know where to turn once they attain the jhana. Now, when they attain the jhana, that means they have come up to a certain standard of concentration. They have attained enough concentration to withhold or suspend the hindrances. Otherwise, they can't attain the first jhana. So once they have attained the first jhana, they get attached to it. To it means to the joy and rapture that you feel at that moment by attaining it. You see, so we have to look at things with wisdom. Then, when we look at it with wisdom, we can see, this is also impermanent. This is not going to, is anicca. So what I should do is to see that when you realize that it is anicca, that it will also pass away and that it is not going to last, then you get more sort of wiser, and you are able to sort of uh, move away a little bit from the thought of being attached and staying in that comfort and piti and happiness, right? the rapture that you feel, because it is like a soda bottle, where when you open it, it comes out. So you're so happy that you have been able to achieve it. But one must realize that it is also impermanent. And then when you see the impermanence of the jhana, then you want to go further up, and then you realize that these thoughts and the initial application and the sustained application of the thought, that you sort of give up, and then you naturally go into the second jhana. That's how it is.
Right. So, Bhikkhuni, how do we encourage people to meditate? People complain today like they don't have time. We are so busy. We have lay life, so many commitment. And how do we encourage the people that it is time, high time, or you will never, I mean, better late than never. Otherwise, you might really lose some really important golden opportunity to practice. How do we encourage?
The thing is this: people today, unlike when we were small, things are so easy to get. There are so many technical things that create a lot of the easy living. And we get attached to all those things, so that we forget that these things are impermanent, and that i- ahead of us there is death. But when someone falls sick, uh, or you get mortally sick, or it could be sick, just ordinary sickness, which might be able to cure. But whatever it is, when one is sick, then one realizes the impermanence of life, how it could lead to death. Then that fear comes. The fear comes that you have not achieved what you wanted to achieve. Maybe you never wanted to achieve it, you see, because you have been immersed in the joy of life, enjoying all the material things, so that you don't realize that this is all going to end, and you're going to leave all this and die, and you don't know where you will end. Because of, you see, we have not realized. I always think that uh, these people who feel this way, I too have met some people like that, who come and tell me, I have no problems, I have no suffering, I am, you know there are people like that who come and tell me. So such people have not really felt the need to do anything to further their good karma. Because of what they have done earlier, the good karma that they have done, they have come here, and they have so many things, and happiness, and people, and everything. But like when if that someone of, not necessarily the person himself or herself, but maybe someone that he or she really loves, falls sick, then that person will realize, uh, after all, there is suffering. That idea should come, that there is suffering, and that has to be by yourself. Nobody else can give it. Though we try to tell people, look, these are the four noble truths, and we try to tell them this is the first truth. But you see, it has to come from within. It is only then that they will really try to uh, do something about this life, to achieve something more than what they already have.
Wonderful. Okay, so move on to Madalina's question. Madalina is also a wonderful practitioner, a good Dhamma sister of us. And she asks, may I ask if it is true that if the meditator has detached anger, it means that the meditator has already achieved the third level of anagami?
No. That is the shortest answer I could give. Because you see, now, though we think we have, we don't have anger, when a situation arises, sometimes the anger comes up. And when the anger comes up, if we are wise and if we are, practitioners, we will try to sort of put it down, to subdue it. But still it's there. See, until we have really achieved, you can't go to anagami level without sotapanna, without sakadagami. You see, so we have to go through those two levels to reach anagami. And therefore, I personally, I think that even if one thinks that one has sort of abandoned altogether, got rid of the anger, you must wait and see a situation where you have, whether you can see for yourself that whether anger comes. You see, it can come from within, and you may suppress it, and you may, not show it to the others, but still you know that it is there. So that kind of, that's how I would think it that way.
Hmm.
What do you think, Bante?
Yes, so in Sakadagami level, Patiga, Kamaraga Patiga is substantially suppressed, and then in Anagami level, it is completely gone. So when somebody thinks that they don't get angry anymore, yeah, you need to actually testify yourself. Are you getting angry? Sometimes this is called leaner. As when we continue to practice, your anger will be gone. Let's say, like you continue to practice metta, so your anger will definitely be more subtle. It's much better. Like if you continue to practice metta, your anger level will be much more subtle than the other people who have really gross level anger. Like you you just have one word or something, and it can easily generate anger in you. But here you have practiced, you continue to practice on regular basis, metta meditation, loving kindness, you continue to practice, and yeah, you might see it's almost gone, and it might even be hidden. This is called anusaya, right? Like it's like a latent tendency. The anger can still be there unless you attain anagami. So yes, I think Madalena, you need to testify yourself. If you have any remnant of anger, like any sort of little bit of anger, maybe even jealousy, you know,
Yeah,
um,
but that is also part of anger.
yeah, it might be there. So dosa, patigha, and also all these are part of kodha, vera. All these are part of family members, and then then the jealousy. Yeah,
Yes.
all these things can be there. We need to continue to monitor if we have any remnant of this anger. That's a really good question, though.
It is a good question, and
Yeah.
yeah, maybe this person has a lot of mindfulness too.
Oh,
So
I know personally, she is a really very profound
yeah,
practitioner. Yeah,
so that is why she wants to find out. That is very good, but at the same time, no one else can do it for her.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I think we also have some wonderful friends who joined today. Alex Joy, Madalena, and Sangamita Chavan, Proud Thai Cookery, and Pushpa Vijay Vikrama, Priyadarshini Rasangika, and a lot of people from Facebook too, Piyangi Vijayaratna, and Julie. Oh, I remember she joined us. She came from Canada last time to Empty Cloud. Yeah. And yeah, so thank you everyone. Ruman Barua also has joined us today, and thank you everyone for joining us today with this Sunday Dhamma Talk series. I think we have another question from Madalena. How to prove that we have totally detached from the right of, to root of anger if we don't want to harm ourselves and others?
I think we have already answered that question. Hmm. I
Yeah.
think we have to be very mindful all the time. If we are very mindful all the time, then, but mindfulness, as I said in my talk, is something that we have to always cultivate, because it can suddenly disappear. And of course, it can come back a little while later when you become mindful. But
Mm,
if we are all the time mindful, then we will see for ourselves, um, am I now angry? That one said this to me, or that one, whatever, did to this to me. Am I angry? So that question has to be asked by oneself. And it is mindfulness that can help to show whether one has achieved it.
mm. Yes, like uh, like when we meditate, sometimes you continue to meditate and your mind concentration doesn't really happen. You can't maintain it, and you might be angry with yourself. Why can't I
Yeah,
meditate?
yeah,
You know, and then suddenly you hear a noise outside. Oh, why do they make noises? I'm meditating. All these things are little things.
yeah.
And when you are meditating, there is a possibility that you don't generate anger. But the anger can happen really, maybe, when you are with other people. When you meet other people, then you can really testify. Okay, like, okay, these people are really not practicing Dhamma. I'm so angry with them. Why don't they do this? And look at these people, they are like very stupid people. You might have some judgment on other people, and
All that shows that you have anger still.
yes, this is how we need to testify.
Yeah, to test yourself.
Right. So you need to push your limit and see if it is still there. And yes, there is a possibility. We don't say no. There is a
Yeah, that's true.
possibility,
Yes.
like if you have attained Nagami. But yeah, that's actually a good question, whether you have attained Anagami. So continue to work on your Patiga and also Kamaraga. Both Kamaraga and Patiga should be completely gone if you become an Nagami or non-returner. Right. So I think even think of such high, lofty ideals. I think it makes so wonderful, you know. So like, okay, I'm closer to that at least. I think I'm there or something. I'm so inspired to think of it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
There is the Dhammanusari and the Saddhanusari.
Yes.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yes. I think there is a book, Vanchaka Dharma, Bante Rerukani Chandavimala Nayaka Thero's book. Yeah, there can be, these are like cheating. Those are like leaner. They can be hidden in us. And so even when we practice meditation, Sometimes people see light, sometimes people see, okay, I have attained Nibbana. So there are a lot of, so many.
Then there is a little conceit also there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
conceit is there. Yeah, mana.
That is the last one to go anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think this Vanchaka Dharma, I don't know if it is in um, English.
It is
Is
in
there?
Sinhala. I have the book also in Sinhala, but I don't know about English.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is about the Vanchaka Dharma. Do you know, Bhikkhuni, about this book, the content
Yeah,
of
I
this?
have the book with me,
Mm. So
but
what
that
does it?
is the not English. It's in Sinhala.
Okay, so would you like to elaborate a little bit about Vanchaka Dharma?
I don't have the book here with me to show you,
No, I
but
mean,
I have read through the book. But actually, what it means is vanchaka in the sense deceitful, isn't that so?
yes,
So
yeah.
that means that you deceive yourself. That's what the Thera is telling us. You
Mm.
deceive yourself by thinking you are greater than what you are really. You may be a practitioner, but at the same time, you have not gone so far. But because of your ego, or I don't know, whatever that is driving you, you want to go further very quickly.
Mm.
But there is a certain pace at which we can achieve what we want to achieve, because we each one of us has a certain karma that we have brought with us into this world, and according to that karma, we have even our livelihood now is spread out because of that karma that we have brought here. And of course, by doing good karma now, we are adding to it, and that can result in a better sort of future than what we have now. But the Vanchakadhamma tells us that uh, we, we deceive ourselves thinking that we have certain good qualities which we really don't have. But uh, maybe other people can see it. But we ourselves, we just think, I don't have pride, I don't have, uh, I don't judge other people, I don't have hatred. Like that, you count on your fingers all the good qualities that you have. But still, there may be instances when we are faced with a certain situation, we that whatever we thought was not there comes up. That is why we talk of the latent tendencies,
Mm.
the asavas.
Mm.
And asavas are very, very difficult. They are so deep rooted because the fetters that have, made us what we are. So we have to see for ourselves that again, it's very difficult for others to say. And Vanchakadhamma is a very fine book because Bante, Rerukane Dhamma Vimala, uh,
Chanting.
has shown us what it is and how to. I think everyone should read that book, those who can.
Mm. Right. So yeah, Vanchaka Dhamma Chittopakklesa. This I think the word not asava, it should be anusaya for latent tendency. Yes. Yes, I think when we meditate also sometimes we think I am meditating, the others are not meditating. So you are trying to compare. You have that superiority complex of others. These are some sort of, kilesa or defilements that we have because we judge. And there can be a little bit of anger in us. So we need to continue to monitor our situation. Like when you are alone, you practice in isolation, then also you might be able to maintain to a certain extent. But maybe when you mix with the other people, when you go to the society, then you might see, oh, this leaner or this hidden defilements are still there in me. I get angry. I get to, get upset. And many other defilements who have been hidden in me, now given an opportunity, they might pop up. So we need to continue to practice. That's a really a good thing in practice. So I think when we have those things, um, if someone has anger to some extent, practicing loving kindness will be good, and also practicing dhatu manasikara, element meditation on elements can be very helpful. Yeah. Okay. I think we had a good discussion today and really appreciate Bhikkhuni Ayya Sudinna's time with us today and sharing your Dhamma, sharing your practice. And I hope our wonderful audience was benefited today. Really appreciate and thank you. And I would like to wish that our Bhikkhuni Ayya Sudinna, may you also be able to attain your fulfillment, your sansaric journey to be over as soon as possible, and may you be able to learn the Dhamma, practice the Dhamma, and achieve your goal, that is the supreme bliss of Nibbana, as soon as possible.
Thank you, Vante. Shall we give the
Yes, please.
Shatisha our,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Ittavata ca amhehi sampatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya akasatta ca bummatta deva naga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu sasanang Cirang rakkantu desanang, cirang rakkantu mang parang. May all of us attain the bliss of Nibbana as soon as possible. Thank you
Sadhu,
so much.
sadhu.
Thanks to all of you who have listened, and thank you, Vante, for inviting me. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. We will look forward to hearing from you one more time, maybe, maybe more time, not one. And again, thank you everyone for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again on another Sunday Dhamma Talk. And we will have another um, event on Thursday, guest lecture series. If you are interested, if you have time, please join us. Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And then we also have Pali classes on Friday 9:30 a.m. If you want to learn Pali, it will be very helpful for you to learn the Dhamma again. See, read the suttas by yourself, and so avoid the confusion with different translations. So Saturday, also we have two more Pali classes. In between, we will have some events depending on the situation. We are planning to start a Sinhala Dhamma Talk series on Saturdays. So hopefully our audience will be more benefited in the future too. And with that, we conclude today. May you all be well, happy, healthy. Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta. Sa
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.